All right, so welcome to Focus on Liberia. We're here this afternoon with Montserrat District number 4 representative, Honorable Rustonlyn, Suacoco Dennis. Let me say welcome to this exclusive interview. How you doing?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing good.
Long time we have not spoken on the microphone. How is the district doing?
Yeah, the dish is pretty okay. Thank you for having me on.
All right, so let's begin on this note. We have a few months to the elections, the 2023 elections.
Just want to cut off. You can go come on. Tell
Like,
me to cut off and off. It makes no sense.
And I just like to know from you, where are we? Are you post for re-elections? How is it like?
Well, I came in politics in Liberia for transformative purposes. I'm a catalyst for change, and Liberia is the only home I have. So I've dedicated my entire life towards the governing process of Liberia. So I said since 2018 that I've developed a career in politics. So indeed, I am going for re-election and I am pushing forward until I reach the position where I can execute real transformative change.
How do you see politics in Liberia? Is it what was perceived prior to you becoming a representative or a politician?
Obviously, no. Politics in theory is different from practical politics in Liberia.
Okay.
So definitely, it is few or just a minute portion, a minority of the people actually have got understanding on legislative politics on the role, function, duties, responsibility of law majority of the people. So politics in Liberia is actually different from what policies and reform and governance should be. It's more like welfare, personal reach out, and so forth.
You've been too passionate about women issues, women rights issue, human rights into your new or your second term bid. Why do you intend to push them? Because I'm very sure some of your anticipation was never met in the first term of your legislative welcome to end. How are you looking at that, or how are you going to approach it if you come back at the legislature?
Well, definitely, I intend to focus more on lawmaking, on reform, on policies that can have a greater impact and transform the life of Liberian people, as compared to focusing more on welfare and personal assistance and doing jobs that are actually outside of your TOR and combining it. It has been a difficult time to look at things that I did not anticipate that I would build bridges, that I will have to build room myself, that I'll have to bring street lights to certain communities after we pass budget for relevant entities to do that, and that when you call them, they are unable to do that, and they can't actually give you real reason. But the reality is that if you want to make a change and you just come in the picture, you have to observe, you have to learn and see what the loopholes are, which is good that the people can see the sincerity and truth in us and our quest to make Liberia a better place, that it can give us the opportunity and to be the leader that we are intended to be. So, by the help of God, we focus more on strategic part of the challenges in society. Like I'm passionate about women issues, about child abuse, youth empowerment. So those are things that, although they are part, but I have to do bridges, I have to do road, I have to be advocating for the people, like the gasoline saga. Gasoline was about to take a twist in Liberia that the world was recorded, but I was glad I was able to be part of majority of those who stood up to the government and said this cannot be, this cannot happen, and that is one of the sources of our advocacy, that we stood for the people. Even though people who we stood for, they were stabbing us, but we did not mind. We got the grace and courage to have stood, and yeah.
So you spoke on the issues on the welfare issue, which is a serious problem in Liberia. Uh, when people are elected by citizens representing the legislature, I'm going to be specific the legislature, they see you as the person to do everything for them. When someone wants to go to hospital, they call upon you. When they are in need of school fees, they call upon you. When they are in need of hospital, they call upon you. And you say you're going to slow down a bit on those things. This is not the kind of society we have. How do you think the relationship with the people going to continue?
Well, not necessarily slowing down, but I'm going to bring more of something that will help the country. It's going to be more than welfare.
Okay.
It's not that we're going to really remove welfare. It's something that we cannot remove from the politics of Liberia as the understanding of the people. When I elect you as my lawmaker, when I'm in need, when I'm in problem, you should be there for me. Just minute portion of the people don't care, but bulk majority do care. In all, what I'm saying is that, for an example, like the issue of the drugs, I have a communication, I have a bill for the establishment of rehabilitation center. And I went through my advocacy and tried to legislate that. I'm glad that the president is involved into the rehabilitation center stuff. So those are positive policies and reforms I'm talking about. And then the thing, we gotta do something about the old people, we gotta do something about the crazy people, we gotta do something about the needy people, we gotta do something about youth empowerment. So like I'm gonna give like 60% to that and 40% as compared to giving 60% to welfare and 40% to that. Yeah.
Great. So let's come back to the district. District number 4. Why should you be re-elected? What can we catalog? What can we point out to? Uh, What can we
Because
look at?
basically, I did not go to the district to hurt the district. I actually went to the district to help the district. Like in a Dupo, there's over 38 years of hiatus. Like there's a gap between communities, and we just completed that project around Julie and the type of farmer in pocket. The Omega famous preferred bridge. That's the only alternative we have to the Omega traffic. We did project in Dubu Shara, we did a project in Peloton, we did project in various parts of the community. Even in Suacoco, we did projects. So like I constantly maintain the rules. I'm not public work. I don't have budget for that. Or lateral rules for during the dry season. So I have to complete all of those rules and those are impacts that I'm doing in the community. I'm doing markets. I'm doing grant now. I remove from loan to grant because a lot of the people cannot pay the loan. So instead of giving them loan, I just give them grant and so they can help themselves and manage with the scholarship medical system, economic stimulus package. So those are things that we just do.
Almost 5 years now, I'm sure, in the legislature. What have been your greatest disappointment?
Well, I mean, the disappointment is just not to a particular person, it's just the entire country. It needs a reform. The country needs a reset. It needs a rebirth. There are a lot of serious people in Liberia, not just in government or side government, a lot of serious people. The justice system has been my greatest disappointment, and it's just my hope and aspiration that one day we'll have a justice system that will lift up its arm, like what happened to R. Kelly now for racketing and sexual abuse. As a female singer celebrity is going to jail for 30 years cannot happen like you almost never. Spanish means nunca, never. So we need a justice system that will be independent, that will see beyond the individual and go straight to the crowd. So and that have been my quest coming into government, and I have seen my quest is the greatest challenge. So
All right, so let's speak on what happened in plenary today. Today is your session day. You were in plenary. There's a bill before the House now, and you're one of the co-sponsors of that bill. The bill is seeking to prohibit female genital mutilation that has been condemned worldwide. Looking at Liberia, why informed? What is the background of your bill? What informed that decision?
well, the bill is being sponsored by the Honorable Deputy Speaker Fanati Kofa, and upon my return to the country, he told me about that, and he know that I've been passionate about that. I've been speaking against that, and I'm also glad that he's a male and he's championing that, so it just doesn't look like it's a women's something. So I'm glad that a man is also doing that. I consider that a harmful cultural practice. I consider that as an abuse to women. I consider that as a grave human rights issue, so I wasted no time. Effectively, immediately when I was called upon, and the bill was ready by the Honorable Deputy Speaker. wasted no time but to fix my signature as one of, I think, 5 or 6 co-sponsors. So I'll be giving my vote and I'll be swaying the votes on the floor. And I think it's about time we obliterate that cultural practice. I mean, it's cultural, it's tradition, but not all traditions or cultures are good for that country. And I just hope we don't wait for the time that we have to be inculcated, before we do certain things, but we should see it as harm to our own well-being. I mean, like for as a woman, I think we should get rid of it. Looking at the historicity of the female genital mutilation, I think those were the disadvantage and the cruelty towards women in the past, and it's about time that we pass post.
That was just on the floor of the plenary, and you saw the body languages on many of your colleagues, even females who, I mean, were having some different salary. I'm very sure you're going to receive serious challenge in having this passed.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that an easy ride. And there are female who also part of quote unquote the cultural society, so they've been brainwashed, and there are males who also see that as something good. But the middle that question that I asked them, will you send your daughter there? And there's nobody today that have answer as to whether they can send their daughter for female genital mutilation. So I'm like, the fact that you cannot do that, it means it's just not good. If it's good for you and your child, then it's good for the public. If you will support it, and then you can have your child to go there, then it is a problem.
All right, so as to conclude, you are a young person, you're one of the persons who have been very vocal. I mean, you have education, you're doing master in law now, you got another master degree. What could be your advice to Liberians, young people, older people? Because one of the things you say in this interview was that a lot of unserious people in Liberia, not just in government. So, what would be your advice to Liberians? What should we take seriously?
I mean, we should take everything serious as a country. And I mean, there's too much fun among Liberians. It's just not to be taken on a negative side, like she said, that people are serious. But if you have a country of 175 years, almost 200 years, and you don't have anything to show, it tells you we've not made significant strive or effort in getting things done. I mean, we should stand for something and stand by it. One of the things I always say, do you know, like something I did in high school? um, People doing works, and then they want a high school student to get on par with the other students in West Africa, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Nigeria. But most of the high schools don't have standard laboratory. One of the seriousness is the PTA. You get together, you demand the government that we should have a standard laboratory for our children per region, like Payne, the Broadway, and so forth. And then you go to some other countries. Well, you have that, the that seriousness to that. The government listening to you, but everything the government will put it doesn't work for you. So that if you don't charge it, it just goes off, and then they tend to blame government. So we have to be serious in everything that we do. Like I was serious for the petroleum issue, and a lot of actors were also serious. And today we have petroleum $5, 90 cents up to $6 compared to $8, 50 cents and 9 cents. We gotta be serious in education, we gotta be serious in business, we gotta be serious in our idea, in everything. We just need a little bit of seriousness. We have a beautiful country that's prospering until we can move forward.
What is lacking in our educational system? I'm sure you're going to school at Bisa, your master, which J in London. Uh, your day to now, what is lacking? What can we do to restore that?
I mean, since 1989, I think we have a reform educational system. It just need reform in revamp. Since 1989, we just lost everything. So it's nothing new. It's nothing that you can pick point because we won't leave from here to the university, the high school, incompetent teachers, and I mean just couple of them. And imagine since 1989, we're in 2022. We got decades producing people who not really. I mean, a lot of people can write. Let's be real. Journalist, minister, representative, community chairman. I mean, you just can't do a lot of things. So it's a problem for the country. So this is why I just sum everything up. Like when there's a rebirth and we just ain't going for a new nation.
Thank you. So, finally, what do you have to say?
Well, my prediction about the local county election, my prediction was for Kotiman to win based on where we're getting from Unity Party Secretary General. Is more like it's tight or Unity Party has lost. So I'm glad that the people of Lofa decided on what they want, and I just hope they bear the consequences thereof because they have rejuvenated the CDC. So, I mean, it's a problem. It's a blow to the
What do you see
opposition.
ahead of?
It's a strike to Ambassador to Sedimon Waka. Yeah, I mean, it is complete slap in our faces.
Does it speak anything to, I mean, that might influence the presidential elections result in
I
2023?
actually don't have much to say when it comes to 2023. My projection is 2029 and afterward. I just see this is like the old Liberia. And after the George Weah, the Joseph Waka era, there'll be new faces, there'll be new projection. There where my future is and there where my heart and aspiration is. So I'm thinking like after Waka and Weah, the next phase of Liberia, and so we should be working in that direction because I've accepted that I mean there's nothing gonna
You think so?
yeah there's nothing gonna be good for George Weah government. Even he has 6 more terms, there's nothing going there's nothing different gonna be there because like next year's election the government is still blundering, the president is still playing, he's gonna be worse than what he was and so forth. Yeah.
Thank you. It was nice having this
Thank you
conversation
so
with you.
much. It's always my pleasure. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. So this is Focus on Liberia. We were in conversation with Honorable Rustonlyn Suacoco, Dennis of Mosvara District 4. Always keep following Focus on Liberia. Bye-bye.